Hey guys, my name is Chris if you didn't already know, and welcome to another one of my random videos. This one I'm entitling Video Games That I Was Addicted To. It's a big list, so let me get started. Of course the first one, Space Invaders. The reason for that is because my dad had one of those little Atari machines, and so we were all just playing it all the time. There were other games on there as well, like Missile Command and Haunted House. So when I got into my teens I had a ZX Spectrum, where I was addicted to the game Batman. You know, the one that was based on the 1989 movie. The trouble was waiting for it to load up forever. I'm not kidding, each level took about 10 minutes to load up, and it was making all that stupid noise. You know, sounded like one of my old teachers. But I absolutely loved that game, so much that it only had 5 levels, but every time I finished it, I just start again. Although it took me a while to figure out how to get the Joker right at the end when he was climbing up the ladder. I kept trying to fire a batarang at him, and it either shot that way or that way, never in the direction of the Joker. But then I figured out why not use the bat rope, and it worked. So I was doing that every time, because you know, I was addicted to it. Then came along the Sega Mega Drive, and of course Sonic the Hedgehog. I think the whole world was addicted to that game. And it's one of those where you finish the game but then you find out you haven't got all the gems, so you started again so you could get them all. And eventually I did, because I was addicted. And of course then came along Sonic the Hedgehog 2, again addicted. And of course Sonic the Hedgehog 3, again addicted. But I think when Sonic and Knuckles came along I kind of got bored of them. Thing is, I've now got Sonic the Hedgehog on my phone and I never touch it. Mind you, I'm addicted to other games at the moment. Back to my teenage years, I used to play a game called Pang. And I used to play that with my friend all the time. It's where you got 2 characters firing these darts or whatever they were at these bubbles, and every time it hit it split into 2 and then so forth until you got rid of them all. And according to my friend, that was on the Amiga, and he says that he once sold me his Amiga to me, and I had it for a long while until he bought it back off me. I have no recollection of that. Seriously, old man memory. And then I eventually got a PC where obviously the game that I got addicted to was Doom. In fact, it's still on that PC that's in my bedroom right now. And I played that game to death. And of course then came along Doom 2. And I became addicted to that even more than Doom. So much in fact that there's this one level where there's this like character that I call Pyro, where it's a monster that it burns you, but it can revive other monsters as well. So I kept going on that level all the time, and I'd go around releasing every single monster on the map, and then I'd go up against them all at the same time. And I was quite clever with it as well, because I'd like try and get one monster in front of me and Pyro, so that when he tried attacking me he hit them, so they started fighting him. And then once he killed them, he just revived them again. And I kept going in this building. After I killed a few monsters inside there, I'd be stood in the window and just shooting everything I could find. And I still have that level saved on that PC right now. I've been on it for about 2 years. Maybe I ought to. Still on the PC, I got addicted to another game, Worms 2. Played that with my friend who I played Pang with all the time, and it got to the point where we were digging tunnels to each other, but we couldn't get too close until one of us ended up with a holy hand grenade. That ended the game. We loved that so much. And then I discovered Carmageddon. Oh my god, was I addicted to that game. And I finished it as well. As a matter of fact, on my phone I found it in the Play Store, so I downloaded it onto my phone and I became addicted to it again. And about 6 months ago, I completed it again. Then I bought the Sega Saturn. Stop laughing. I like that machine, I still have it. But what I got with it was the game Die Hard Trilogy. But it wasn't second and third one that I liked, it was the first game. The one where you play John McClane and you're running around the building killing bad guys, saving hostages. I became super addicted to that one. There are 50 levels, I beat it and then I started again. I did try and get into Die Hard 2 because it had the gun thing, but it wasn't that great. And the Die Hard with a Vengeance game, it was just too repetitive and it got boring. So I played Die Hard again. And of course with the Sega Saturn I also got Sega Rally. It's a short game, but once again I became addicted to it. I'd be racing my brothers, I'd be racing friends, I even raced myself. For those of you who never had the game, what happens is, I think it's called the Ghost Stage or something like that, where you race around the track and then you race again, but this time it's like a ghost image of your last race, and so you're racing against yourself. And despite it only having 3 levels, I did get addicted to that. And still on the Sega Saturn with the gun, Virtua Cop. I love that game but not as much as Virtua Cop 2. As a matter of fact, now and then, if I'm in the mood, I will stick the Sega Saturn on, put both guns on, and go through Virtua Cop 2, only because I've got the cheats on it. But I did beat it before I got the cheats, that's how I got them. I actually have a story about Virtua Cop 2. I once went to Skegness with a friend, and we went into this arcade, and straight away, right there in front of me, was Virtua Cop 2 with 2 guns, and I'm like, I'm having this. So I went up to it, popped in a few pounds, took both guns, and I started shooting away. Blasted through that first level, pun intended. And then as I was shooting through the second level, I could hear people behind me saying, "Go on son, go on, oh you're doing really, really well." So when I got to the end of that, I looked round, I'd got a crowd behind me. And I was thinking, I better not let them down. So I focused hard on the game for the third level, and I beat it, and I had everybody cheering at the end, clapping my shoulder, shaking my hand. I felt like a right hero. It's all because of my addiction, isn't it? Still on the Sega Saturn, another game that I started playing a lot of was Firestorm Thunderhawk 2. It was this helicopter game, and I mean the music was fantastic on it anyway, but the gameplay, going around blowing all these things up, shooting all these buildings and whatnot, I loved it. Again, I was addicted to it. And there was actually a game that I borrowed off somebody called Mass Destruction, where you're in a tank and pretty much doing the same as the helicopter game, where you're just going around blowing everybody away and blowing things up and whatnot. I got addicted to that, so much in fact that I finished it, and then I gave the game back. I've since bought it, so now I've got it again. But I actually got more addicted to the music more than the game on that one, and now I'm hearing it in my head. Moving away from the Sega Saturn, going back to the PC, the one game that everybody got addicted to, I got addicted to, Halo. I played that game as much as I could, whenever I could, until I beat it. And then a few years later I decided to play it again, beat it again, and then when I got my Xbox One, I got the remastered version, and I beat it once more. So you could say I was addicted to it. But before I got the Xbox One, I got an Xbox, and with it I got the Matrix Path of Neo. I loved that game a lot. Doing all those cool fight moves, I was so addicted to it. And even when I beat it, I carried on playing some of the levels again anyway. I'm now thinking about wanting to play it again. And also on the Xbox, Spider-Man 2. I loved swinging through New York and catching all these bad guys and having all these big boss fights. Although one part of the game got me really, really angry, where you've got to swing on whatever it was that was like leading to the Statue of Liberty. If you made one wrong move, you were in the water and you had to start all over again. And that happened way too much. But eventually I did that and I finished the game, and you could still play it at the end, but after that it was just boring. And then I discovered Superman Returns, another game that I got addicted to. There was a lot of tough moments, but I love just flying through the city and bashing bad guys and, you know, all the Superman stuff that he does. Some of the graphics on it were fantastic. And then eventually I upgraded to the Xbox One, where I got the Halo games, and somebody said to me, "Why don't you try this game?" And I'm like, I don't know, I'll try it. It wipes the floor with all the other games that I've ever played. The one that I'm the most addicted to, even now, still, I love Fallout 4. Although at first, when I started playing it, you know, because I'd never played a Fallout game before, so I didn't know anything about Pip-Boys, I didn't know anything about vaults, and so I was like roaming around this vault that I woke up in for a long time until I figured out how to get out. And I was sort of bordering on whether or not to just quit the game at that point. I'm so glad I didn't. Once I started exploring the wasteland, I absolutely loved that game. I fell in love with it. I tell you, there's this one scene that I still remember, and I wish I'd recorded it, where I had a group of people a settlement that I was looking after, and they were calling for help. So by this time I'd got my armour, so I arrived there, and straight away there were 3 Brotherhood of Steel men, and they started shooting at me. Mind you, earlier on in the game I did upset them. I blew up their blimp. By the way, that was fantastic to watch. Anyway, back to the 3 Brotherhood of Steel who started shooting at me. I started running away, went behind a tree, loaded up my I forgot what you call it. It was the Fat Man but souped up, so there was like 3 mini nukes in one package. And then I came back out of the woodland to see the 3 men shooting at the settlement, and I just went boom, boom, bits of bodies was just flying everywhere. And I'm like, yes! And then later on in the day I was like, no, I didn't record it. It's up here though. But I have to say, without a doubt, it's my favourite game of all time. And of course I moved on to Fallout 3 eventually. I enjoyed it, and I did get a little addicted to that, but not as much as Fallout 4. And I'm currently playing Fallout New Vegas. I'm not quite addicted to that because I know for a fact that once I finish that, I'm going to go back to Fallout 4. I need to play that one again. But that's not the only game on the Xbox One I got addicted to. I also got addicted to Batman Arkham Knight. And this was before I played Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. And I'm proud to say, in fact I'm going to show a picture right here, that I beat that game 100% across the board. I was determined, because I was addicted to it. But there you go, that's my video of all the video games that I've been addicted to. I'm sure I've missed a few. So with that being said, it's now time for me to say thank you for watching and subscribing if you have, and liking this video if you did. Until the next time, peace out. Fallout 4 I played as the dad throughout the game, and I've since decided that when I play it again I'm going to play as the mother. And I've heard that the story can go one of three ways, and the first time I played it I went up against the Institute and the Brotherhood of Steel. I chose to go against them. I think it's because with the railroad people, and I was told that I got to kill the leader of them, and she was saying what you were going to do, and I was just like, well, I don't want to kill you, so I'll let her be. But it was worth it when I got to take down the blimp and the Institute.